Alright, we are restarting my stream due to dropped frames, and it looks like it did the first time that it was running okay. I closed out the window, and then secretly it started to drop frames on me. Usually once it starts, it's pretty good, but we'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for letting me know about that, Kentucky. Kentucky bourbon. You make me think of Kentucky bourbon and old granddad whiskey. Queen e2. Queen e2. That seems weird, like the d4 square is beckoning. Seems like white should just go, with the normal type of stuff, some kind of normal move here. What's up with queen e2? He's giving his knight the square d1. Doesn't seem it doesn't seem really necessary to give the knight that's usually dropping back here. Maybe it can even go to a4 sometimes if it's hit, but I don't know if he's thinking about knight d5 or something crazy. Actually, he could do that. Right now it wouldn't make any sense to do knight to d5, but theoretically he can play it without losing a piece. And now I've been tempted into putting my knight in front of my bishop, blocking my own bishop, which is something that I might not normally do in a situation such as this. So interesting. We don't have any drop frames. It looks better now. It's just kind of random. I don't know. I lowered the FPS speed down to a few points lower. Yeah, we're back now. I think it'll be okay. Weird choice by Zenchess to play Queen e2 again. I don't know if that's good or not. I'm just gonna play. I don't know what's going on here. He's got Queen f2 or Queen f2. That is so strange. Never seen anything quite like this before. Now my knight is out on d4 all by its lonesome. Knight f6, knight g4 looks possible. I don't even know if it's a good thing to do that. This is highly experimental for both sides, actually. I mean, throwing my knight out there to d4 early seems kind of weird, and white's maneuver with the queen is extremely unusual. You won't find this position in any master games. Is it raining in Budapest? It's actually stopped now. It's sunny. It's been raining for the last 2 days, though, off and on, quite a bit. But today looks nice, so we're in luck. Yeah, it only rains on the days that I'm not working in the morning, and this is the day when I'm working. Last night, though, it's not pleasant when I have to do the stream and it's raining. Now he does knight d1, leading to further strangeness. I could play knight to g4. It doesn't do anything, though. He's going here, which is super odd. So he's going to kick my knight out now. I can understand that. Plus his knight has a good square to e3. And that's one of the first, reasons why he probably played queen e2. If you check out games in like the Four Knights game, no, actually the exchange, Four Knights game with black, Rubinstein did queen e7 and knight d8. And you can also see games where, like he actually played, there's a Rubinstein game with white where he did like queen e2 in the exchange Lopez and then knight c3 to d1. And maneuvered like that. So not only in the Queens, not only in this closed Sicilian, but you see classical games as well, where the knight maneuvers through d1. This is strange. I mean, b4, c3, take, queen a5. I was looking at. This is just a really weird position. I don't know what to classify it as. I feel like I need to develop the rest of my pieces, and we're off on a kind of experimental tangent. Now b4, trying to slow down c3, but at the same time maybe giving him a good outpost here. To try to secure my own knight at d4, I could be risking giving him a good outpost at c4. Hungarian food especially, this is it's like one of those memes about, somewhere I heard some memes about different cultural foods. Hungarian food, well, they put paprika on stuff, but I'm not eating in the restaurant too often. Alright, so c3, we're going to take it, play maybe queen a5. Is this a good idea? Not sure about it. But it does kind of tie him up, for what it's worth. He instantly played queen d2. Okay, so we're winning in exchange here at the cost of giving away a massive center. Or are we? I just realized that you could have played queen b2 there. So I'm not fully awake yet. I think you might be winning after queen b2. Knight takes a1, queen takes b7. Knight c2 check. King d2. Whoops, I'm like losing material. So both of us need to take a little more time. For Zen chess, it's really early in the morning, so I can kind of forgive him. My excuse is that it's early in the morning. The most popular market in Budapest is the Mammoth. Well, I mean, and, you know, on the what am I trying to say? That may or may not be the case. There's like a shopping center in the Buda side, you know. In the Buda side, I used to live over there for a year. There is a big shopping center called Mammoth. I don't know. But I live in Pest. Now, Zen chess with bishop e2. I think the majority of, you know, the cities and slight majority of the cities in Pest Buda is not quite as populated. Queen a5. For those of you that don't know, I do live in Budapest, Hungary. I'm American, but I live in Budapest, Hungary since 2004. Came here to play chess, and then oh man, that wins material? No. I was like, what? That move can't just win material. It almost does. I'm a little slow with the calculations today, so please forgive me. I need some warm-up tactics before the stream or something. Warm-up games are important. My one of my friends in Boston, FIDE master Bill Kelleher, he used to always insist that we would play warm-up games before the blitz tournament started. And I always thought, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like baseball or something, you know. But chess, you do need to get warmed up. It's almost like a physical sport. I think you need to get ready before you start to play. I always thought at first it was strange that Bill would do that, but it makes just as much sense as any sport. In the morning, I always feel like I'm not really calculating, especially in my first games. It feels like the calculation has to kind of start and get running. I don't know if you guys feel the same thing, but good try with knight e3 now. I knew that knight was going to come to c4. And we should be winning now, hands down. I mean, rook b8 even. His bishop is bad. Perhaps the safest move would have been knight c7, but it's kind of passive. His knight takes up a very good outpost there while I lose my good knight. Ni hao. Camel culture. Putting your hands down. What did I miss? A question? How do you stay fit if Hungarian food healthy? As I said, I'm not fit, and number one, and number two, I'm not obese, but I'm not really fit, I would say. What was I thinking here, by the way? I don't know, I think I actually hallucinated that I could take this pawn immediately. It's weird. Weird hallucination, but anyway, I have queen a2, it should be fine. He's a couple moves from like checkmating me with knight g5, fortunately. No, there's these memes that are like exaggerations about Hungarian food. I mean, it can't be that much different than anywhere else, you know, the food is. I mean, in not that distant countries. I never thought it was that spicy, to be honest. It's not like Mexican food or something. Queen a2. We should be winning hands down, I understand. Alright, no development for white. Bad bishop. Zen chess, you know, while it's early morning for him, it's also early morning for me. But we have different reasons to not play well. I'm not awake yet, and it's like late at night for him, basically. I don't know if this is the best move, but I don't like that queen on d5. I think we can force a trade of queens now with queen b7 at the very least. I'd like to play d5, but I'm a little concerned about that pawn getting vulnerable. Let's see, d5. f5, king d7. Something like knight f4, king c6. It's very important in the endgame to think about the importance of centralizing your king. I mean, both Zen Chess and I here have obviously regarded that rather highly, but my pawn structure is kind of awkward. I'm not actually up any pawns for the exchange, and now my rook has to protect the a6 pawn, which I'm not really thrilled about. It's like we're gonna have to play king c6. This was what I was talking about earlier. But it's probably okay for me as long as I'm careful. It feels like he has, I don't know, like a lot of pieces or something. Goodness. All right. Rook b4. That's one way of preventing knight to d5. Tenacious play by Zen Chess down in exchange against Lucky Kentucky yesterday. I almost didn't win up the exchange as well. He defended also one of our early games for the day very, very tenaciously. Here we go again. I have bishop g5 and wonder if that's a good move. It's kind of like if I don't play bishop g5, I could play rook b8, knight d5, rook b3 check. Seems like he has dangerous threats. Either way, he's got a strong passed pawn. Not so easy for me. I'm not convinced I'm winning with this monster knight on d5. I could even be worse here, very easily. I don't think I'm even winning anymore. The knight's so strong. But I don't think I should be losing. Wow. Now he's probably losing. Definitely should not exchange rooks there, Zen Chess. It looks like you're completely okay. I mean, I let you have this monster control of d5. After this, I still think he's fine, but the computer evaluation is dropping like a brick there. I decided to play a5 in this position. A rook e8. I didn't know what to do. Zen Chess should just simply draw by taking on b4 after this move. This is a dead draw. But instead he tried to like play for a win or something, which was a little mental. Rook e1. I could play rook back, but then I was afraid of this for some reason. So he has chances to take that. He should just take on b4. It's a draw. After this, though, it's lost. Now even here, maybe pawn takes. I guess. I have rook b7. I'm probably winning now. You had two chances to take, but I really found it difficult to make progress here. For the computer, it's easy. I have rook b1. I missed this. This move is absolutely problematic for white. And okay, if I go here, which was like the normal move, I didn't really see how I was going to make progress, honestly. I'm not so sure how easy this is. After bishop d8, he has a very strong passed pawn here. I'm not sure that black is making progress in this position. You have to literally play like a computer. But perhaps with perfect moves I can win. I'm up in exchange. Not so easy though. Alright, any other subscribers who are challenging me? I don't think we have any other subscribers, do we? Zen Chess is here, we just played. Protagon's not playing. No, you just simply take the rook and it's a draw. I'm not a computer, so I was sort of taking it, playing safe there by giving you back the rook, but I didn't see rook b1, which was important. The line that I just showed you looked kind of unclear to me, so I didn't go for it. But anyway, weird game. Queen e2. Oh, Pac-Man's is sub. Okay. Well, it's good that I played him first. Pac-Man's pal. It's good to know. I didn't know your lichess name. We should actually make him a friend on our friend list here. Everyone's a subscriber gets the added benefit of being a friend on my friend list. I don't know if I have Zen Chess in there actually. We'll add that. I should know when you guys subscribers are online on lichess. I'm playing g3 here. Normally I play c4, but we can transpose to some kind of King's Indian attack. I spelled son. Where? Alright, I need another coffee. Alright. Castles. I played g3 bishop. I usually play g3 against d5 type setups. Here we're in the reverse Grunfeld. I've had good results with this. It looks like pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, e5 with a reverse Grunfeld. Has been played in a number of games by Vishy Anand. And it does probably equalize for black. But you have to be very precise if you play that way. You're basically playing as if you're white. like take e5, knight takes c6, b takes c6, c4. And one interesting move which even Isevich played was rook b8 in that position, literally playing like a modern exchange variation. Very few games of that. Now Pac-Man's pal he may be taking my advice, or just he might have played this on his own. I don't know. So even Isevich tried rook b8. It's playing the modern exchange variation tempo down. But I think Anand has played a different move here. We got 6 challengers. Pac-Man's pal. So there's only a couple games in the database with this move. It looks like Black's kind of going a little bit too far, you know, trying to play as if they were white almost. Interesting move here is maybe queen a4, then rook b4. I think that most likely bishop g5 was played in the Ivanisevic game, but I'm not sure. Maybe c takes d is possible. I can't remember. Ivanisevic drew with some weaker player with rook b8. But when I looked at it with the engine, I think the engine liked rook b8. Yeah, e4 is definitely not really the preferred approach for Black. But it may not be that bad. I mean, I would think the chances are he's going to lose both of his central pawns. Maybe not. CD, CD, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, queen takes d5, queen takes b2. Now, like, my pieces are trapped. There I could play even knight d2 and save my rooks. Kind of crazy variation. It's more natural to develop with something like knight c3. Play this first and then decide. I guess he could play queen takes d5. That's a strange looking move. I don't really think that this is Black's safest way of playing, but e4 is probably pushing it too much. It's not a constructive move to play e4. Maybe Ivanisevic just took on b2, I don't remember. When I looked at it with the engine, it was basically equal after rook b8. Playing a major opening with an extra move should be at least equal for white. Now knight c3, bishop e6. He could do something weird like knight c3, bishop b7, but I don't think that really looks right. Now I was looking at bishop takes f6. He could also take with the g pawn. It's not out of the realm of possibility to keep his d5 pawn protected. Knight c3, bishop e6. Work week coming up. A work week. Work week's starting on Saturday. Not the traditional approach. So bishop takes f6 doesn't really do a whole lot. Queen a4 check looks like a kind of reversed Grunfeld type of thing. Who is Pac-Man's pal? Ms. Pac-Man. You guys are too young to know Miss Pac-Man. Alright. Oh no. Pac-Man's pal is fast. He's pretty fast. I'll give him that. I'm having to make decisions very quickly around here. I was hoping to double your pawns, but if you're going to undevelop a piece, what can I do about it? We've got a development lead, and black's center is kind of melting. But still there's no clear win. He can go knight b6 and just kind of hang on. Now my bishop g5 is just hanging out, you know, totally in the air there. It needs to redeploy. I might have missed something better, I don't know. If rook takes b2, it looks like his king is very open. Knight takes d5, threatening mate on c7. That doesn't look good. I mean, for the moment, he's materially equal. Maybe he could do something crazy, like knight takes d5, f6. But I wouldn't trust it. Black's development is not really completed, and he's opening the position here. I guess I could play knight b6, bishop e3. And, you know, there, if he develops his pieces, how bad is his position? For example, knight b6, bishop e3, bishop e7, bishop takes b6, etc., etc. f6 might be a useful move. I do have bishop f4 here. Now you're taking on b2. f6 is a hiding square for his king, possibly. Hiding place. Bishop c1 is even possible now. Not an absurd concept. How does he defend his pawns if I play bishop c1? I mean, bishop f4, rook takes b2, knight takes d5. It feels like he's getting away or something. This is a little bit abstract, admittedly, but we keep a lot of pieces on the board, and his pawn structure is kind of overextended. Objectively, I don't know. I mean, maybe my bishop should be here on d4. But I thought I can redeploy it out on b2. Then I'll have to watch out for knight c4 constantly. Yeah. The problem was he was going to take on b2. I mean, I didn't really have another move. What's going on here? Well, now bishop e2 makes some sense. We've got knight b5 ideas. Nothing as far as material wins. Black's almost consolidated the position. I could play f3 at some point. Maybe I have knight c7. Black has to be careful here. We've got a very good position for the pieces. I can play f3 to break at some point. Maybe that will be good. I'm a little concerned about rook c8 coming in later, taking over the c file. This is an excellent move. The there maneuver. Bishop d4, interesting. Putting myself in kind of an awkward situation. Basically a cheapo. Knight takes a7, rook c2 gives black counterplay. If that move doesn't freak you out, I don't know what will. Now there's the family fork here. Pac-Man's pal, like right until the end, he's probably fine. Even here, it's not too bad. But you should just take. I mean, this is only minutely worse for black. It's basically a draw. Interesting game. I was always a tiny bit better, but I mean, I don't know if c4 is the best move. Maybe the dude played bishop g5. That's an interesting possibility to play without. Maybe to play without c4. I think you have to play c4. So this is Vachier, Nakamura, and Yakovenko versus Anand. c4, but rook b8 is the engine move, and very few games with this position. Yeah, so knight c3 was played. Somebody lost the game with white. I don't know how you can do that. Bishop g5. And even Ivanovic played bishop e7, which is the best move according to the engine. Even rook takes b2 is possible, but I don't like this e4. This was the variation I wasn't sure about. Takes, queen takes d5, queen takes b2. Queen takes, you know, if queen takes e4 check, my rook is like hanging. So this was what I was looking at. I probably should have played this. It looks like I may just be winning, winning a pawn this way. So don't repeat e4. I don't think that's really good. Alright, anyway guys, we're going to move on. Chess Armageddon. On move 20, I had rook takes a7, but the problem was he was going to the 7th rank. Honestly, on move 20, I played it on move 21 here. Yeah, I had knight takes a7, but I didn't like this. I don't know, it just felt like black was getting active or something, but that's kind of paranoia, I guess. I mean, I thought this was hanging. But I forgot I had knight c6. Or a4. Okay, you're right. Yeah, I should have played it. I would have played rook takes, bishop takes. I didn't think this was good enough for him. But apparently, I have a problem in this position, even though I'm a pawn up. Yeah, now he does it. Okay, so he should take and then play rook a3, rook c2. Yeah, so it wasn't anything special. I had already kind of messed up my position by that point. Honestly, I should have gone for the. Another interesting moment though was like bishop c1. I don't know if this is really the best move. I probably should have played bishop e3. I wasn't really sure what was going on here after rook takes b2. Knight takes e5, king f7. But objectively, his king isn't really safe. This pawn on e4 is hanging. The pawn on a7 is hanging. His development is kind of unstable. And he's tied down to d7. I have this move. He can't take on a2. We can get the bishop pair, maybe win the pawn there, win the pawn on a7. This is how I should have played it. So bishop c1 was just too slow. Yeah, knight takes a7 starts to lose the initiative there. Yeah, I didn't want to do that, but I shouldn't have played bishop c1. It was too slow, basically. Chess Armageddon, good luck. All right, the Sicilian defense. On Wednesdays, I'm reinstituting my stream where I'm doing unusual openings. So just playing different kind of fun stuff. That's what we did on Wednesday. And we're back to our normal repertoire. I normally don't play anti-Sicilians with white. I almost always play the main line. I have occasionally played like the Grand Prix attack with white, but just on a very, very, very rare basis for specific opponents. But when I did play the Grand Prix attack, I would play, well, not even the Grand Prix attack, whatever it's called. I've played a number of games with like Knight C3 and Bishop B5. I don't even know if that has a name. I liked playing that for a while. So the Najdorf is a really, really good opening for black. I think the Najdorf and the Sveshnikov are the sort of best defenses for black in the Sicilian. I don't really have a lot of confidence in my own lines. Okay, now, well, we'll play the main line. I mean, sometimes I play A3 just to kind of get out of book. Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Grandmaster Plagius? No, I have not. But I'm not sure if you're asking me or someone in the stream. So Bishop E7. I mean, supposedly this is bad for black because of G4. We're going to go for it. I did look at this the other day, and, you know, I still think that black's position is not that bad. I lost a game in Las Palmas once to some 2300 guy. Maybe he was even like 2250, I don't remember. But theory recommends G4. And I believe H6 is the recommended answer. The antidote. It kind of looks like a perenni attack with my bishop out on B3. A perenni. H4. I could play G5 anyway. G5 anyway. What happens if G5 anyway? Pawn takes, bishop takes. Knight takes E4. Bishop takes E7, knight takes C3. Bishop takes D8, knight takes D1. Then his his knight should get trapped on B2. But is this really justified for me? This kind of G5 thing. I mean, I've got a castle queenside basically. I mean, the temptation is to play like H4, but I don't really like that here. Now, anyway, it's probably okay. I don't know the theory. I think H6, when I looked, is the main move for black. Maybe Chess Armageddon intentionally plays this. For a long time, Bishop E7 was considered just bad for black. That's what I was taught years ago. Camel culture, wow. Sith legend. Alright. The dark side. They were talking about the dark side earlier. So Bishop E3 is a problem because of knight takes D4, bishop takes D4, E5. We've got to watch that. Unless you want to sack a pawn, which is conceivable, but not really correct. There's rook G1, and knight takes D4, queen takes D4, E5. I mean, g5 is straight up playable. I guess I'm just wasting too much time. This is kind of like a transposition to the other line. It looks a lot like my game from like whenever that was in Las Palmas. Knight takes e4 again. Knight takes e4. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes g5. Knight takes c6. B takes c, knight takes g5, queen takes g5. Pawn takes g5, rook takes, pawn takes. Rook takes king d2. What the hell is that? What the heck is that? Am I down a pawn at the end there? Or that's like equal material? I'm losing a pawn? Knight takes e4. That can't possibly work. Okay, knight takes e4, knight takes c6, b takes c, knight takes e4, bishop takes g5, knight takes g5, queen takes g5, h takes g5, rook takes h1 check, king d2, rook takes, rook takes. But I think he might get his bishop, his knight trapped on b2 again. Knight takes e4. These tactics rarely work. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes g5, knight takes c6, b takes c. No, actually that's the problem. I have to take on e7. Are you listening to the stream, or are you just doing this on your own? Am I doing your analysis for you? Bishop takes e7, knight takes c3, bishop takes d8, knight takes d1. Knight takes c6, b takes c. Aren't I gonna like trap that knight? I think I'm trapping the knight on b2. Or maybe I'm not, because he has like b5 at the end. Do we have any other tricks? I mean, you never know. I might have some kind of crazy queen g4 type of move. He doesn't have b5. But anyway, he doesn't have time. I mean, this is just doesn't work. My calculation is a little bit slow. He needs another tempo to be able to play d5 here. Then he would be okay. Yeah, in my experience, like 90% of the time, these things don't work, and that's actually the case with like all tactics. Like 90% of tactics don't work. So that's the problem with trying to inject some creativity and life into the chess game. Usually, you spend a lot of time thinking, and it just doesn't work. Now I can take another pawn. Being the materialist that I am, in all seriousness, I mean, I can only remember really literally like 20% of the time these knight takes e4 tactics winning are working when I'm black, and usually it just equalizes at best. Like you're never winning anything, like you're just like trading a lot of pieces to reach an equal position or something. But there was no... Whoa. What happened? Was that a mouse slip? One would assume. So this h-pawn looks kind of monstrous. He can almost pick it off, but I have multiple defenses. Bishop f6 or c4 if he tries rook b4. He's got a nice pawn chain, but one pawn for a piece is not going to cut it. a4. That's not going to happen. I could castle queenside. Anyway, my king seems kind of debatable here. It's getting in the way of my rooks. Unfortunately, now he has rook b4. Well, actually, I'll take on d6 there. He can't lose this pawn. It's lost for black. I mean, there's just not enough pawns. Seriously, 90% of tactics never work. The problem with being a tactical style player, nothing here for black. I'm mostly interested in queening this pawn, though, rather than trying to checkmate black. I don't think that that's really realistic. It's going to be hard to get at his king with this fortress there. But pushing this pawn should be fairly straightforward. I think he could have played like rook b4. Actually, he still can try it. He should try it. I don't really know what else to suggest. But now it's preventing bishop f6. Undermining the blockade. Oh, he took. I no longer have a passed pawn. Just one pawn for a piece is never going to be enough. Yeah, at least the pawn won't promote, exactly. I do have this, though, with the idea of g6. That looks pretty nasty. A new target is formed on f7. The base of your pawn chain, you better you better think of something fast. I think bishop d7, bishop e8. Of course, trading rooks probably would be winning for white. He's never going to be able to trade off all my pawns, is he? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Rook h7 now. And there's all sorts of nasty stuff here. Threatening g6. I could trade rooks. I guess we'll play this first. Tie him down. And we'll trade pieces. Now he's not going anywhere. Yeah, that's pretty ugly. He can't. Well, he could try e5 here. But it's not good. My king is going to walk in. Alright. Analysis board opening question. What is going on with the opening here? I think h6 is the best move, but latest white score here with g4. I mean, it's like off the charts, 54%. But I think it's a position that deserves more analysis. I think that people are biased toward this position being bad for black. It may not be that bad. The engine doesn't even want to play g4. h6. Best move. So I'm supposed to play bishop e3. I was talking about the perenni attack. But rook g1 looks good too. I rejected rook g1 because I was afraid of something like takes and e5, but that's stupid because I can go back to d1. I didn't like the... What am I talking about, by the way? What am I talking about? Why did I reject rook g1? Knight c6. Bishop e3. This is what I was afraid of. And then he like takes on d4. But I guess it's nothing special. I just take with the bishop. I still don't think the position is that bad for black, though, you know. It's just a matter of vogue. Like, somebody said, hey, allowing g4 is not good. It's very bad for black. White's score is ridiculous here, though. But the computer analysis doesn't really bear it out. It's like plus 0.2 for white. It really shouldn't be that bad. Looks like h4 is a mistake, though. Kudrin actually did this. And Martin Neubauer. I might have done this in my game. Now rook g1. I did g5. This is a new position. Similar to the Kiri's attack, there's an old game between Yuri Vovk and Oleksienko when these guys were little babies. Apparently queen a5 is a strong move here. Really threatening queen takes g5 in this position. Wow. There's like no move for white now. Oh, gotta do rook g1. Now you're really threatening knight takes e4. Holy crap. Queen a5 is a great move. Wow. There's just no good move after that. Damn. Good to know about. So I have to do rook g1. At least. That's better than what I did. But it's better not to do h4 in the first place. Bishop e3. Still, I don't think the position is that bad for black. So more people should play this for black. Lucky Kentucky we already played. King Chaser, Filthy Seabass, A. Morales, Archie, Refutation, Diogenes. 90% of tactics don't work. Yeah, it's true, dude. There's a lot of tactics that don't work. Sounds sort of ridiculous. The other day, I think King Chaser was here usually late, and he didn't get to play. He was like the last one, if I remember correctly. Maybe it wasn't King Chaser last time. It was it the guy from South Korea? Been watching the stream a lot lately. King Chaser playing e4. Okay. We'll stick with our Caro Kann. If it was going to be a rouser, I would play c5, but I'm tired of the anti-Sicilians. I'd like to play mainline Sicilians, but we're just getting all kinds of weird closed Sicilians. It's starting to drive me nuts. Okay, the advanced Caro is good. I've been looking at some lines here, but not too many people, unfortunately, on lichess. Random players will play this. Lucky Kentucky, I generally like try not to play multiple games with the same player during my stream. I only have time for like 10 games, man. So I can't really play, you know, for 40 minutes with one player. Nothing personal. I just don't accept challenges from the same player once I've already played them. We played the first game today already. We didn't play already today? Am I crazy? We didn't play today. I thought we already played. We didn't play? Oh, okay. We didn't play. I thought we played. I'm sorry. Yeah, yesterday we played. Oh, that's so weird. I was just like still on yesterday. I'm sorry about that. So weird. It was practically today. It was like just 8 hours ago. Knight c3. Alright, we'll play him next. There was a really tough game in the first round, and I thought it was you for some reason. It was just like you, because I was up the exchange against Zen Chess. Yeah, I confused my game with Zen Chess for you. I've got to think here, because this is a weird move, Knight c3. This can't be a bad move, in my opinion. I don't think that's bad, but it's very unusual. What do we do to like exploit Knight c3? You know, can you do something to exploit this move? I mean, it seems like he's going to come in here. If I try to play c5 in some positions, it's like a winnower. It becomes a winnower kind of French thing. That's weird. I don't know what to do against that. That's something we're going to have to look up. So sorry, Kentucky. I really... I know you've been in the stream before, and you should know that I don't play the same player twice. But for some reason, I thought the Zen chess game was against you. All the days just blend into one here. Alright, I don't know what the best move is. I'm just going to choose a move at random. This sometimes allows, like, bishop g5. That's interesting, for example. Is it still 50% off for new subs? 50% off? 50% off for Prime members. I don't know. I have trouble waking up in the morning, and I don't know, for some reason. Lucky Kentucky, I thought you made a comment in the stream that was like, you're leaving or something, and then, I don't know, I'm having dreams and hallucinations. I was convinced that I'd already played you. That's so weird. Anyways, here I wonder, you know, can we do this, like, h6 type of thing? God, I don't really subscribe to this normally. And I've seen, like, Caruana do it and other players. But I don't want to play g5. Those guys will do, like, g5. I mean, I don't see in a million years how black can be justified playing g5 in the Caro-Kann at an early stage, to be honest. I'm just playing it to preserve my bishop against knight h4 in this position. I don't have any intention of playing g5. My nickname came up 25 years ago. Your friends actually call you that. It just reminds me of my... I went through a phase with old granddad whiskey. I don't like to be a trend, you know. I don't like to do the trendy thing, you know, the Jack Daniels. So I found old granddad was just as good as Jack Daniels. Maybe better. Castles. Knight d7. Developing my pieces. I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but I went through a phase where I was drinking it. Anyway, that's what I think of when you say Kentucky. The only thing I associate with Kentucky is drinking whiskey. Yam. Yam as in like the potato like thing, or... Yeah, the only yams I know are those sweet potatoes that you eat at Christmas time. Spelled slightly differently. I'm assuming this is some kind of Serbian game. I don't know. B4. There's a lot of things I don't know. Not surprisingly. B4 is a ballsy move that I think, you know, might work because of this strange setup based on knight c3. He's playing a non-traditional type of game here. Just kind of restricting me. Why not? I think b4 is perfectly reasonable. Maybe we'll just block our own bishop with knight g6. That's asking for trouble. Alright. God, this is passive for black. I'm turning into Prohashka Peter. This is really passive, but I'm gaining time on the guy here on b4. And okay, my position is solid, right? I would always make fun of Prohashka for playing knight c8 in the advanced variation, but I can understand, you know, you don't want to like waste time. And now there's the temptation to play c5, obviously. There's also the question of my development in general, which is kind of lagging. So whatever, man. I mean, I don't feel like I'm really justified opening up the position here with like a lag in development. So maybe down in the future I can play f6. It's taking an awful lot of space here. But a5 will weaken me. My knight is about to get like permanently permanently misplaced. Alright, well, whatever. Do what you want, man, on the queen side. Play a5. It's sort of a trick. He can't actually play a5. Maybe he's just going to trade off my good bishop here with bishop a3. That's a reasonable move, I guess. Whoops. Eventually I need to break against the center. This would be the only real logical plan for white, I guess. For that matter, he could play a5. No, bishop b4 wins a pawn. Should win a pawn. No, he didn't see it, or else I missed something. Does have a6. a6 is kind of weird, but he has a knight hanging. Still, he could play a6. a6 is probably a good move. I didn't count on that. I just take on a6, and then he takes on c6, and then I play some ridiculous move like knight to b8, and hopefully surround the pawn on c6. You're the bubble. You're the bubble. No, yeah, the bubble is like the last person who does it with a prize. In poker tournament terminology. When you're a solid player, you're often being the bubble. The prize bubble. But bubble only applies when there's prizes involved. He took on c6. Okay, here he's just losing a pawn. I think this was kind of cool. a6. I don't know what he's got to show for it now. His knight is hanging. He missed a good chance there with a6. I have to imagine after bishop a3 instead of a5 he was good, at least equal. Now there's bishop a3, but it's not, shouldn't be a problem, I hope. One would argue he has some compensation, wing gambit style. Whoops, where's that going? Putting pressure on the center. A little scary if he plays c4, huh? Starting bishop b7, I really ought to wake up, man. It's enough with sleeping through everything here. Rook B. Rook B. He's got good control of the b4 square. It's strange happening in the Caro-Kann. It's basically just blitz now. Something strangely odd about this position. The b4 square is what's really strange. White dominating that seemingly absolutely random square. Okay. The bishop on d6 is a strong asset, no doubt. Making random moves. I regret doing that. I take it back. I don't really want to trade. I think this move helps me, though. After that, everything's under control. Probably not the best move by me. He just went into panic mode. He actually has take queen b7 there with some play. I blundered again. It's certainly been an interesting time scramble. Not really optimally played by either side. That's why I like increment. Imagine how bad this game would be without the increment. Just keeps finding moves. B3. The e5 pawn finally goes. The centerpiece of his position. He's still not giving up. Alright. B2. No way to stop it. That should decide. Alright, now I'm kind of curious to see this knight c3 move. This is interesting. I don't know this player, Yoav Dotan. Is that a real player, or is that a correspondence player? The rating's very high, and I don't know either of those names, but I mean, it's possible. But 2007, I mean, I would have heard of those players. It feels like correspondence game. Not a lot of games here, it's weird. Like bishop g4 is a move. To check out the engine, it's going to move its bishop again to g4 after knight c3. Never been played, and best move according to the engine. I mean, knight c3 should change the calculations here tremendously as to what, one side or the other should play. This move is interesting, bishop b4. I like that. Vadaj Laszlo. He was almost dead by that point in 2000. He was down to 2300. Sick in his later life. He was a fairly strong player at one point, Vadaj, but he had problems. Anyway, a good Caro-Kann player. Knight d7, bishop b4, c5. I played knight d7. I played knight e7. Not a good move according to the engine. How bad can it be? h6. Oh, interesting opening. I mean, not really a lot of theory there. So, king chaser, something to... I think you should study that. I should study it. We're not going to run into to knight c3 too often, though. I mean, usually the pawn is like, going to c4 to destroy the black pawn chain later on. Or maybe white's going to play c3. So you don't see knight c3 very often. Alright, Lucky Kentucky, I'm not in the mood for another exchange Caro-Kann. Some guy played this against one of my students the other day. I think Soltis talked about like knight c3 and knight e2 as the chameleon Sicilian. I played this myself. Now there's a very interesting note in Encyclopedia from years ago, knight f6. I think Roman might have played this. The idea, which is cool, is like e5, knight g4, which would later influence me to play that move against a similar idea against a Kopian in a game. But I don't know. Now white can sort of go into a closed Sicilian where black's pieces are maybe not where he would normally put them. Fortunately, Lucky Kentucky played d4. I'm a little uncomfortable honestly after g3 here, because this is not a formation I usually play in the closed Sicilian. Here we're just transposing back to a normal line, basically. The Yugoslavia times. Well, I don't know. My first time in Eastern Europe was back in '96, so I've never been to the old days, but I kind of liked Hungary better in the late '90s. than I like it now. Okay, d6, f3. Trying to play a kind of English attack here. The other day I did like d5 the other day. This was weeks ago. I did d5. It's not the right idea here. I have to play a6 first. You can play the normal English attack or transpose to a dragon, but neither of those options really appeals to me since I'm not playing the dragon and I'm not playing the Najdorf. I like to find something independent, so I usually play for d5. It's possible that I played this variation with Lucky Kentucky before, but I don't remember. Maybe the main line is bishop e3. I had a lot of blitz games in this variation, only 1 or 2 tournament games ever. We have had some games on the stream in this line, bishop e3, d5, and there's a whole bunch of different continuations for white. Objectively, black should probably go into a normal Najdorf. Another interesting move is maybe... Well, I don't know. Can you play queen b6 here? Something to think about. I think Mark Hebden played queen e2 against me in this position, which is some kind of specially developed tricky move. Bishop e2 looks kind of slow, not really incisive in any way. What was our game yesterday? In the subscriber stream, you didn't play the classical dragon against me, did you? Somebody played the classical dragon against me. e5, black should have a good game here. I don't think I really have a lot of options. I mean, I could take on e4, but that doesn't look very dangerous for white. Fisher boy. You know, how important is this tempo he's sort of spent on this semi-slow move? It's possible to take with the knight. Looks kind of incorrect, though. I'm threatening d4. So there's another tempo. And now, maybe I'm supposed to play d4. I had a very similar game to this some months ago, now that I'm thinking about it. d4, knight e4, queen a5 check might be pretty good for black. d4, knight a4, queen a5 check. Alright. I think I remember that I failed to play d4 in this other game. I mean, here the temptation is to play bishop e6, I guess. I had a game where a guy was able to castle queenside, or there was some game that was a draw in a very similar position, but I guess not quite the same. I'm not sure white played bishop e2 in that game. Maybe something like queen d2 instead. Something more to like directly toward castling queenside. Knight e4, queen a5 check. Of course I can play bishop e7. That's a solid move. Looking for more with the queen a5 check. Maybe I just end up trading queens. I was looking at knight e4, queen a5 check, queen d2, bishop b4, c3. Knight takes e4. C takes b. Knight takes d2. B takes a, which is actually probably pretty good for white. He has 2 bishops in that position. So I don't know. Queen a5 check, bishop d2 leaves him kind of passive. Queen a5 check, queen d2, bishop b4, c3, maybe d takes c, b takes c. That's not so bad for white. Bishop e7. I mean, this seems safer. I don't know. I don't see queen a5 being that convincing. It certainly doesn't develop anything for me. I could consider here not taking, you know, with the piece and take with the pawn. I don't even know if I should take on e4. We've also got like knight d5, which looks interesting. I feel like I'm neglecting my development here, which is a very dangerous concept in general. Knight d5 is kind of a greedy move. But we're getting low on time, so we'll keep it simple. Black should be very slightly better here. Extremely solid position. But knight d5, if I had more time, I would probably play that. And now bishop c4, bishop e6 with equality. White has a slightly worse structure, but it shouldn't be the end of the world. But I decided to play this very, very low risk. Not playing queen a5 check, not playing knight d5. Guys, I've got a simul stream on Sundays that I'm doing here on lichess. 9:30 in the, what am I saying 9:30? 19:30, 6:30 p.m. on Sundays. 19:30 military time. Yes, bishop c4. I'm tied down to this. And not only that, but the bishop could settle on d5, so I think this is correct. Now, you could take with the pawn, but I guess in a vacuum that's not really, well, it's interesting though. Slightly better structure for us. This pawn is weak. He's going to play rook f2 and double though, so he's got the ability to attack and defend laterally. First of all, I've got to watch out for stuff like attacking my e-pawn, I guess. I wanted to induce this weakening in his position before really adopting a plan now. I'm very low on time. Queen h5 is kind of a cool move, because he's attacking e5 all the time. I can't try to challenge his queen with queen g6. This I didn't expect. The e4 pawn is pretty weak. Going with a totally different approach now. Yes. I have 3 connected passed pawns. I had e4 check there, but he just plays king f4. I guess I'm winning. It's strangely difficult to make progress despite my 3 connected passed pawns. Maybe e4 check followed by rook e5. Takes. This is... it's a comedic, kind of comedic response. Strange situation. I've got to get him off of f4. Okay, you can have d3. King position is too important. Lucky Kentucky, he's not really used to, I think, increments. He's very fast. Yesterday he almost flagged me from a lost position as well. He defends very well in bad positions. Most people couldn't put up any resistance there. But I think you should take more time earlier on. I think that he's used to being able to outplay people based on the time, and he can't do it with the increment. So you need to change your approach there a little bit in this time control with the 5+3. I think that Lucky Kentucky's too used to basing the play on winning on time. Not able to do that with the increment. So interesting game. As far as the opening goes, I don't think it's really great for white. I want to know, I don't think bishop e2 is a good move here. Yeah, and there's no games with bishop e2. It's too slow. Hebden's queen e2 has been played in several games. He definitely played it against me around that time, probably around 98. But e takes d and knight takes d5 are all possible. Knight takes c6 is possible. This is... already white is slightly worse, I think. Computer's not so sure. Blockading plan with knight a4. That's pretty cool. Nimzovich, basically. Yeah, f4 here. An unbelievable move. How does that even work? That's an amazing idea. f4. Undermining my center. Makes complete sense. You lost the tempo, but you're undermining my center just in time. And with that move, white would be okay. But only with that move, probably. That's a beautiful move, f4. Okay, back to the stream here. I'm going to try to play as many games as we can. We have like 40 minutes left. It was, yeah, I mean, exceptional defensive play by white, but it's really like trying to do the impossible at that point. I have too many passed pawns. He should try to avoid giving me those passed pawns. He made a mistake when I played queen g6, trading queens on g6, I think. He could have played something like irritating in that position, like queen f5, kind of just keeping the tension. So it made it a little bit easy for me because he was trying to play fast. But you have to kind of put time, like to be second priority when you're playing with the increment. Filthy Sea Bass. Let's try d6. I play a lot of different stuff against d4. My opening repertoire is a little wider against d4 than it is against e4. But it's also not necessarily better. I think I know the Sicilian best. Now g3. That's possible to play e5 here, but it's nothing special for black. So I'll just transpose back to the King's Indian. Alright, Lucky Kentucky, thanks for playing. He's got to be a brutal player to play in like 3-0 though. He is so fast that he just makes like decent moves very, very quickly and defends like there. He would have beat me on time if it was a 3-0 game for sure. Or at least I would have had to change the way I was playing. Okay, so in the King's Indian, well, let's try like the classical knight on bd7. I rarely play this these days, but just for the interest, in the interest of doing something different, b3. Not a bad move. Nothing wrong with that. Whoops. Pretty solid setup for white. If you don't play e4 and you just play like e3 or something like that, very frustrating for black, you know, to figure out what to do. I think b3 is a decent system. Maybe you can do something like queen c2 as well. I don't know if it's good right here, but you know, after bishop b2, of course. Sometimes it's possible to play like e4, e3 with black in these kind of positions. That's why white might play e3, you know, to make sure that doesn't happen. Again, I'm not really playing this line lately, so I don't know if I can do e4, e3. But it's something to think about. e4, let's see where he goes, like knight d2, e3, pawn takes pawn, knight g4. I'm not sure if this really works. e4, knight d2. He would play e3 if he has time. Oh well, we only live once. Yes, 3-0 and 5-0 I prefer. Yesterday I beat some IM 3-1 software player. Yeah, unfortunately a lot of people are really, well, they're really paranoid, number one, and it's also just a built-in excuse. I mean, we all have the inclination to not want to accept that someone's better than us, so it's easy to just blame everyone on being a computer. So a lot of players have a tendency to do that. This is an active move, but he might have problems with the knight not being protected here. Now, if I did play e3, I have to consider that he could also not take it and play something like f3 or f4. So I'm actually not sure what the best way to do this is. If e3... If he takes, I have knight g4. That looks good for black. But he can simply not take. If rook e8, I weaken the f7 square. Rook e8, knight c3. I can't protect e3 anymore. Alright. It's just going to be played f4 quickly. Okay, now it's a weird position. My pawn is like very disruptive, but at the same time I have to make sure that it doesn't fall. I want to develop my pieces and make sure I just improve my position bit by bit. $1,600. Okay. Advanced pawn is going to need to be protected. I'm also making way for my knight to go to f8. This is a standard King's Indian attack maneuver, and I want to activate my bishop from c8. So it's not only about my rook and protecting this pawn, it's about not wanting to put my knight on b6, which is a terrible square. I can't emphasize enough how often that is a bad move. It's kind of like a talking point with me. Knight a3 is interesting. He's already like kind of got his eye on this pawn on e3. He's going to try to pick it off, perhaps. He's also not obstructing his bishop, but I think objectively I should be fine here. Now he's threatening maybe rook f3. Threatening rook f3. I mean, I can always eliminate the knight on c2. Worst case scenario. h6. I've never played Filthy Sea Bass, but time usage here is quite fast. Okay, h6. He's just going to take my pawn away. It's not cool. And I can play h6 and queen e7. I don't know if this is even good. It's a blunder by white. Played too fast. You have to play knight f3. After knight f3, you've got knight h4, when I think that white is doing okay. But now you just lose a piece. You get a couple pawns for it, maybe, I don't know. But now g4 doesn't seem significant. He's going to play f5 or something. Whoa, what's going on here? Well, he's got 2:55 to my 47 seconds, and he's sacking a piece. No, there, even so, I mean, still f5 might complicate things. So Seabass needs to take more time, but he's not the only one with this problem. All right. Basically an exchange. Now he's down a full rook for a couple of pawns. Just seems like a good player, but just pushing too quickly. I mean, I don't think his position's that bad at all, you know, here. So he's following the recommendation of theory here, knight g5. Wyckovic has a game against Vladimir Gurevich. This is a very old Wyckovic from 1990, pre-moving to the United States. Vladimir Gurevich, I played him. Arthur Feuerstein versus Bernard Zuckerman. Feuerstein was like the first master I ever played, and I lost in like 1987, 1988, I don't remember. Oleg Romanishin, the white pieces. So here he quickly played f4. It's not by any means the only move. You could play f3, knight h3. So this is Wyckovic, Gurevich, Romanishin, Zaid, and well, nobody else played rook e8. Everybody played h6. But the engine says h6 is good. Knight g4 also. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. I was interested in developing my pieces, but apparently it's not as good. I didn't realize I was just dropping a pawn on b7, man. This is just a blunder. Wow. I was totally spacing out. So I can't play bishop f5. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have gone on this crazy tangent. So that's why h6 is better. Yeah, I forgot I was just hanging my pawn on b7. Not a good game by me. All right, Morales is up next. We've got time for 2 or 3 more games. The sunshine above my head. Oh no, it's happening. Now it's better. Makes me invisible. Well, we've had some huge glares sometimes, but that's not a problem right now. I'm not completely invisible, but thanks. e4, e6. It's so weird to have sunshine at all. So guys, Sunday simul, 6:30 p.m. Man, I was just spacing on the b7 pawn there. I didn't read the chat. I'm sure that someone made a comment about it. I realized like 2 moves later. I, for some reason, totally forgot that my bishop on the, my pawn on the long diagonal is just hanging. Okay, Winnower French. Right. I'm going to play the classical, old school style here. Vasily Smyslov. Now the sun looks like it is making me invisible. Got a little bit of sun issues. Not that bad as it has been at times. Yeah, now it's okay. Sun go away. The laser, there's a laser on my monitor at the moment. I got a really bad sunspot on my eye the other day from the light bulb when I was doing the stream on when was it? On Tuesday night. I looked at the light bulb and I was like blinded at the end of my stream. I didn't mention it, but it was like one of those when you get sunspots on your eyes. It was pretty bad. So Queen a5 from Morales here. I don't know this line really, but I know the idea. Forcing me to play, well, I could play Queen d2 or Bishop d2. If you guys want to see some really awesome games in the Winnower, I highly recommend going back to the match for the World Championship between Boris Spassky and Mikhail Tal. They had a lot of awesome games in their World Championship match. I don't remember what year it was, like the late 50s, or was it the 60s? I'm you know, post 60s generation player, but just in passing, because I've been playing the Tarash on the stream with 92 quite a bit lately. Then the other day I was looking at some Nezbedinov games and thinking, oh yeah, you know, I should still keep playing. Like, you get inspired, you know, when you see a strong player. And I used to play knight c3 all the time, but I think it's good to kind of mix it up. Now, all those games with Spassky and Tal were Winnower. It's hard to think of Tal as this French defense player, but he did play a lot of French. Now, Korchnoi also had interesting games in the Winnower, maybe against Spassky as well. Okay, should I consider playing c4 here? No. Did Morales make a mistake allowing this, or is this what he's supposed to do? I'm totally out of book. I don't know anything here. I guess this is somehow playable for black. I have literally no clue what I'm doing. Let's just play c3. This is a very wimpy move by me, but it's safe. And I'm out of book. I mean, I'm looking at stuff like c takes d, e takes d, and bishop g4, and I'm thinking like black Black feels like they're getting too active here. We should be at least equal here with a bishop pair. Black has some white squares, and my bishop could be bad, but yet I have very good control of the center. So I would evaluate it as equal-ish. Knight takes. Dropping a pawn, not a good idea. So I don't know. I don't know enough theory in the mainline French. One of the reasons why I don't like to play e4. I don't play e4 on a regular basis. I kind of handpick certain players. If they play things that I like to play against, I might play e4. But I don't really like facing the French. Insomnia Game says, new player here, but random question. Is there some sort of meta that develops at the highest level? Or definitive style that is popular? Well, I mean, as far as definitive style, I mean, there's definitely a meta game going on between top players that have played each other before. But as far as definitive style, I mean, I think, you know, the definitive style is to be aggressive, but there are different levels of aggression. You know, so I think that's where personal style. I mean, you kind of have to be aggressive. You're never going to be a top player with a passive defensive style, but it's like, you know, varying levels of aggression based on your personality and your preferences. Here, I'd like to leave my king in the center, but it's kind of double-edged. My king could actually be vulnerable here at the same time. So I'm a little bit worried about this. You know, I could have a better endgame in the sense that my king is in the middle of the board, but it could also be a target. There's enough pieces on the board that this could be a risky decision by me. Now bishop g5 looks like a safe move. I'm willing to trade a bishop back. I don't know if I should, though. If I play bishop e3 now, I basically wasted time. But I don't think I have anything here. Objectively, I probably made a mistake. Rook b1, b6. Maybe bishop d3. It's a weird, kind of ironic move. I have no idea. I'm just gonna like try not to lose on time. He's got 3 minutes to 39 seconds. Black is equalized completely. Now black is slightly better. I don't know what I could have done. Bishop c6, maybe king e3. This move, I don't know. Maybe that's slightly better. Now I'm just hoping that I don't lose. I've got a good king. That should really hold the balance. I have a bad pawn, but a good king. And I don't know. Black is slightly better. Not really a successful opening for me. I ended up kind of overextended. I think the plan of bishop g5 was much worse than I had thought. Traded off my bishop pair. I had nothing in the end. Now my opponent's move, interesting move. Knight a5, committal and aggressive. Complicated. Now if b5, rook c5. What's going on there? b5, rook c5, knight c4 check. Or I could play something like a4 maybe. Actually, I have a lot of moves. I could go on the 7th, play rook c3. I'm just going to wimp out and play rook c3 and defend my a3 pawn. I don't think it was really sound to play rook c5. I'm not sure. He's so fast. What am I going to do? Like sack the exchange or something? Now Morales is 2100 in classical over 25 games. That's pretty rare. I mean, to see someone 300 points higher in classical, but his, you know, his sample size is 25 games. I mean, that's really statistically like irrelevant. He's super fast too. I'm lucky I'm not lost here. I mean, I'm pretty close to lost. He has f5 check, pawn takes pawn. That's kind of unclear. It feels like I'm on the verge of losing. You could sort of consider sacrificing the exchange, but I don't really trust it. Now I'm going to try it. He's weakened his king side, so this looks a little more realistic. I've got a good king and a pawn for the exchange, and his king is cut off on the 7th rank. Maybe I can attack e6. It's pretty risky, of course. But I'm tired of defending. Not really sure what I'm doing here. Oh, that's what he's up to. Yeah, I basically have no idea what's going on now. He has some strong threats. Now I'm lost. I lose a rook. He didn't take my knight. Not the first time I've lost against Morales. I would be happy with a draw at this point. I mean, apparently I'm better. I was just lost. I mean, it was just totally lost. Played a great game. Here I'm lost. He's just winning here. Great game, man. You deserve to win. Absolutely. Lucky of me. So refutation is illusion and check. Bring my king to e6. Bring your king to e6 and pray he misses mate. Can white still win? White can definitely still win. He was losing at the end, or at least clearly worse. You should never give up, I guess, if there's any practical hope. I don't really subscribe to playing down, you know, like major pieces. Okay, guys, casual challenges. We have time for like one more game after this. I think checks would be the last one. We're going to be going a little over time. If I play one more, if refutation is not here, we'll go with checks. That'll probably be the last game. Yeah, white can still win, apparently. I got very lucky that he promoted a queen and I still could promote my own. Alright. We lost this player. We're going to go on to the next challenge. Check, checks. Alright, checks. Are you here? Are you with us? Checks might not be here too. In which case we'll go on to the next game after that. No, he's here. Alright. D4. Depending on how long this game is, I'll decide whether we play another game or not today. I normally stream until 12:30, so we have like 18 minutes left. Against this particular move order, yeah, we're playing normally. Tricks only, what's up? When do you start your stream, Tricks only? At 1? I don't want to I don't want to hone in on your time. I'm usually finishing around 12:30, and sometimes it goes until 12:45 if it's really late. All right. Now, I saw an interesting game yesterday where someone played like c5 and d6 and knight c6, which was kind of a cool setup actually. Maybe we'll try to incorporate that. Who was it? Camel Culture showed us a game where he played against, I don't remember the name, some player on here, and I've typically played a lot of d6, but usually with like b6, bishop b7. But I thought it was kind of interesting. One of the problems with this, I would argue, you know, is that if you do like Camel Culture played d6, one thing is that people can take on c5. Okay, if you're playing some dude who's really passive and wants to like draw, that could be kind of irritating, honestly. Like d takes c5, objectively not a great move, but it always crosses my mind when people do that. So that's a question about that kind of setup where you're trying to play like knight c6. Actually, I'm not sure my move order here is really that good. Yeah, 1 o'clock. Ill today. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm usually trying to finish at 12:30, and we've got a couple challenges hanging out till the end of the stream. So I usually try to honor all the challenges, but I can't keep going forever. So as I said, maybe one more game. There's one more challenge at 5-3. I don't mind playing that. But Camel Culture had this game where he did knight c6, and once again, like, people can take on c5 if they want to play for like a draw. That bothers me a little bit, you know. But if you're playing a master or someone strong, they're probably not going to do that. And I kind of like this line with knight c6. Black just played for e5, in that game that I was looking at yesterday. Anyway, here rook c1. It just looks kind of one of those typical Slav moves. Rook c1 is not really common. I mean, maybe I should be playing like knight h5 or something. I'm not really a big fan of that though. So I don't know. Knight h5, like h6, g5. It creates a lot of weaknesses in my position. Plus it trades pieces. I'd rather just develop my pieces. Maybe at some point this will be appealing. Usually white goes out of his way to play like h3. Rook c1. Instead of rook c1, you know, you'd see like Kamsky playing white. He would play h3, knight bd7, a4, like a6, queen. I saw a game yesterday, queen b1. My friend Bill Kelleher used to play that all the time. Queen b1 with the rook on a1 and like b4 taking space. This is standard, totally standard stuff. Rook c1 is a little non-standard, but it's certainly not a bad move for white. And I don't really know where to put my queen here. It's kind of like playing against the queen on c7. Anyways, maybe rook c8, the reti system. Rook c8, queen a8, rook c8, rook c7, queen a8. That's reasonable. Maybe I should play knight h5 at some point. h6, g5. I grab the bishop pair, but it does create a lot of weaknesses in my position. I don't know if I really like that. I can play queen c7, but again, I feel weird about that rook on c1. Chess is the best medicine. Yeah, I don't really like playing when I'm sick either. For some reason, whenever I go to a tournament in the last year or so, I always get sick. And I'm never sick when I'm at home, just when I travel somewhere, every single time. I began to think it was like psychosomatic. And it happened at like poker tournaments too. It didn't happen in just chess tournaments, any kind of tournament. Whenever I go away on a trip, I get sick. Well, anyway, it's a little weird with the rook on c1, but I've got like rook c8, queen b8, queen e8, kind of standard stuff like that. Not my favorite opening to play against the London system. You never get sick during tournaments and games, but in between. Maybe that's better. If you're trying to work at home, though, it's not good. Yeah, like, I got sick in Zalakarosh, I got sick in... or I usually get sick like a day before the tournament starts, basically. And then I'm sick like the whole tournament. I was sick during the first Saturday last year, Zalakarosh, before that in an open tournament. And basically I was never sick in the interim. Anyways, it might be psychosomatic. But maybe like you're just like, you get kind of nervous when you're going to a tournament and there's like pressure and you start, and then it has some kind of effect on your immune system. I know for me, like, this never used to be the case. Like, I would never get sick, but lately in the last 10 years I don't play that often, so maybe it's just if I would play more often, you know, it wouldn't really be an issue. Like, playing in a tournament wouldn't be really a stress because you're so used to doing it. When I used to play like 100 games a year at one point, or like close to that, I think that it was so routine that, you know, there was no difference to me between like playing at a tournament or being at home. Actually, chess was an escape from my horrible personal life at one point. Not so much the case anymore. That's another story for the Jerry Springer show, but not here on my chess stream. Chess can be an escape from reality. Rook on a to c8, and then we're going to try to play... Well, we can play pawn takes pawn, obviously, you know, with this pin along the c file. Now, what... He's asking for the piece fork. Uh-oh. We don't quite have it. Subtle threat of e4, e5, e7, e5, e4. But anyway, I can't really do it because he's got that bishop on f4. I hate the London system. I always have. It's nothing new. I always had trouble like beating it. I mean, long before it was a trend with Magnus Carlsen, the London system was an just irritating opening to face. Like if you're playing somebody 100 rating points higher than you and they play the London system, you're kind of like, oh man, another draw. I noticed yesterday, though, I mean, kind of a weird choice, Aronian choosing to play bishop f4 against MVL, considering that it's Armageddon and he's playing the white pieces and he's playing d4, knight f3, and bishop f4. But I think if anything, you know, it was just simply a choice to get MVL out of his, you know, dangerous theoretical knowledge. Maybe it's something that Black wouldn't have expected, you know, so. But anyway, Aronian got nothing, and it was like slightly better for Black. And he ended up winning somehow. It felt like MVL was actually playing for a win at one point. That's what made him lose. As soon as he started playing for a win, he lost. What am I doing here? We could just play for the C file, I guess. It's pretty weak, though. Pretty lame for me to trade my C5 pawn. But, you know, why not? We do take over the C file. I thought this is probably worth something. Not much, though. Objectively, it's like equal. Maybe Black's a tiny bit better here. He can't play anything else. But I'm not winning the C file. Maybe I should consider queen b8 and queen a8. I really have nothing. Now we go for the bishop pair, I guess. And then I've got to worry about bishop b5. This is just a totally typical London system nightmare. Queen b8 is passive. I've got absolutely zero. Knight takes e4 doesn't work. No tactics. Maybe this doesn't win a bishop. I can play e5, I guess. Possibly gain the bishop pair. I'm not sure how much it really matters in this position now. I'm not even sure it's an advantage at all to get that bishop pair. If I go like knight h5 and something like that. e5 weakens my position. Anyway, guys, I think this is going to be the last game for today. We'll see. If we have 5 minutes left, I'll play the game against the challenger with 5+3. We probably have time to play that. I have nothing here. This is just totally... My knight on d7 is very passive. I mean, I'm not really worse, but I'm not better. I'm not sure e5 is even a good move. Maybe I have bishop h6. I don't know. I can get this in or something. He probably has to take, actually, because of e4. And if bishop e3, I can play knight g4, but my white squares are falling apart there. Maybe knight c5 is something. Bishop g3, bishop h6. This is a really weird situation. I mean, there's like this counter pin, bishop a4. It's almost like a mirror image thing going on. He can pin me. I don't know if this is even good for me. I'm looking at bishop a4, rook takes rook. Rook takes rook, bishop takes e4. And then he's got all kinds of counterplay. Rook c7. I don't know. Doesn't look like this is good for me. I don't know whether to play for a win or a draw here. What am I doing really in this position? Symmetrical. Bishop a4, white is fine. Probably not his only move. He probably has other moves too, but this is clearly the best. There it is. So now for my next trick, my knight is tied down to the bishop on a4. I can't play anything special. I mean, I guess if I wanted to draw, I could draw by trading rooks and trading everything. I don't know, rook d8. That's weird too. Maybe a6 makes the most sense. No time for anything else. Just in time to break the pin. Everything's protected. The position is just too symmetrical. Although we are going to kick him back with b5. If he doesn't have a good move here, maybe we are still slightly better. He seems to be getting low on time. Welcome everyone. King Wiki. Tricks only. Evil Gwyn. Okay, there goes the white squared bishop. Well, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, it looked like he was running out of options. He can't win the pawn on e5 because he'll drop his knight on d2. And now the structure just starts to fall apart. So we have something here. Better pawn structure, bishop pair, securing this. Now he has knight c4, maybe. I should have played rook c8 first. That was a major error, but he put his knight on b3, which is not really problematic. Not so problematic. Rook c8, knight f8, bishop f8, king f7, rook d1, king e6 seems to be okay, actually. I was just looking for tricks based on the d6 square, knight check or something, but he just loses a piece for a pawn. He doesn't seem to have any tactics. This is the key. I mean, he doesn't have knight here. Now we've got him. Better king, 2 bishops, weak pawn on c3. All right, he's fighting back about the weak pawn, but I can play a5, bishop a6, any number of things. I mean, even back to bishop f8 is not bad. As far as actually winning this position, it might not be so easy. This makes my pawns a little bit inflexible on the queen side. Okay guys, this is the last game. We're at 12:30, so I'm going to pack it in. Tomorrow, there's no stream. The next stream, I should have played bishop e3 check here. Whoops. All right. Actually, bishop e3 check just leads to a tactical problem. I've got a4 winning a piece. Did I have that last move? No. A4 winning a piece. Sunday simul stream here on lichess. We were lucky here. Czechs seem to have like a totally equal game. Now b5, bishop rook a1. Not that easy to put him away. Still has rook a1 perhaps there. Now we're just up a piece, so pretty much everything wins. Sunday simul, it's going to be 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. That is 6:30 p.m. Central European time. And we will play 25 players at 40-40 time control. Lasts about 3 hours. If you guys are interested in playing here on lichess, just show up around 6:30 p.m. That's 18:30 military time, and we'll be doing a 25 board simul. Thanks anyway for playing today, and also check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today, especially the subscribers. Also, please subscribe to the Twitch stream. And anyway, it was fun, interesting games today. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye-bye.